Alright, hello and welcome back to Ashgabat Cat's Let's Play That. Today we're taking a look at Omega Fighter. Ooh, those were some interesting sprites we are in for. I love how the title screen is completely silent and then you start hearing the shoot sound and it's like, I didn't come here for the shoot sound, I came here for rockin' background music. Yeah, like this. Sorry, I wouldn't want to pollute my rockin' background music with some shots. Okay, that's enough danger for me. Oh, okay, so I was going to turn on auto fire, but then I just held down the button and the game did it for me. So you hold down the button for auto fire, that's pretty nice, which is good because it does not seem like any other button does anything, and I'm not really in a position to test that out. So we're playing Omega Fighter. Oh, I see. It's one of those double-edged swords where if you hold down the button, then it makes a bunch of noise. But if you only tap it, then it makes less noise. But I feel like, unfortunately, that's something we're just gonna have to deal with. But, oh man. It's actually kind of weird how visually impressive the speed of the space in the background looks. I mean, it is going by at quite the decent click. Now, I can't tell if my shot's been upgraded or if my gun's just been shooting for so long that it just upgraded itself, because it feels like I let go. No? Okay, my gun has been permanently upgraded. I don't know, maybe it's like a Vulcan cannon or something, and it spins, like, for so long that then it kind of spins into a higher plane of existence or something. Ooh. So, a lot of times people play shoot-em-ups, and like, well, okay, they'll play shoot 'em up. Oh, are we fighting a giant, bigger ship in the background? So, okay, this is like Shadow of Colossus, the shoot 'em up. Basically the same, right? Basically the same. Anyway, Shadow of Colossus, if you're not in the know, is a PS2 game whereby you fight these giant colossi. And then the whole sort of mechanic is you run up to them and kind of grab onto their grassy, mossy pits, and then you can climb on them. Oh, for the love of the shoot-em-ups, please let there be a continue function. So, this is late enough that the music and visuals are thoroughly awesome, but still too early for a continue feature. No credit. So if you're not quite catching what's happening, I'm pressing the button. It resets the timer, which is surprisingly generous, actually. Maybe this was before capitalism was invented. But anyway, it politely, yet firmly, informs me that I have no credits inserted. And so, let's indulge it. Oh, that's interesting. You don't press start to start, or you don't press start to restart. Of course you press start to start. But you don't press start to restart, you press the same A button that you've been shooting with to restart. Oh, so one cool thing about shoot-em-ups, well, okay, the first time you play a shoot-em-up, you play to get to the ending, you play to see the ending, and a lot of people will never see that ending because it's actually really hard. And from there, you have branching paths. So you can either go out and play for a 1-credit clear, or you can play for a score. Now this game, it keeps track of your scores and this bunch of scoring mechanisms too, because there's like some multipliers, and so you can build up the multipliers, build up your score, or so I assume. I'm just guessing as to how this all goes. Okay, so it looks like how many enemies you can destroy in a row, which is actually fairly prescient. I mean, they're essentially inventing like a lot of the early bullet hell shoot 'em up scoring systems. So that's actually kind of impressive. This game is like, what, 85 or something? Like, that's pretty early to be like predicting the future of shoot 'em up kind. I also like how it plays super coy with the continue screen button though. It's like, oh, is there a continue? Is there a continue? You rest easy, there's a continue. Oh man, look at all those times 10s. Completely useless because I died, but it's still, I mean, if you're gonna if you need some bread and circuses to keep your life worth going, then it might as well be pretty good bread and circuses. Yeah, you know, just like the great Marie Antoinette said, let them have circuses. And so looking on the lower left-hand corner, it looks like we get an extra ship extend at 30,000 points. Now, this isn't new, a lot of games do that. But what is interesting is that the game, like, practically shoves it in your face. It's like, hey man, you play good enough, you get more. And so there's just this whole, like, emphasis on scoring and getting further. And it's just, it's impressive. It's kind of weird to see, like, a shoot 'em up that just so thoroughly understands the mentality of somebody who would play a shoot 'em up game. Because, like, shoot 'em up games, I feel like they appeal more directly to sort of the competitive game-like instincts of a gamer. And that's because, as you play the shoot 'em up, you have, like, such immense control over your fate. Now, you play, like, something like an RPG game, and, it's random encounters the whole way through. Your character's power is basically beholden to, 1, the story, and 2, the powers and mechanisms attributed to you. And so, pretty much you're at someone else's mercy. Now, the payback, of course, is that you get to have a pretty sweet story. But like a shoot 'em up, it's like you control the ship, and assuming you at least have some level of control, which, okay, I'll be fair, some shoot 'em ups, they do not give you enough control to be worthwhile. And that is a regrettable state of affairs. Oh, I thought this game would be too early. But you can move up and down to move up and down on the name entry screen. It's actually a pretty good name entry screen. No credit. I do actually like it. Because on one hand, it's technically nice. On the other hand, it's super passive aggressive. So anyway, looking at the top of the screen, it looks like it's keeping track of our times 10 multipliers we get. Or maybe it's keeping track of our total score. It looks like it's keeping track of a total score, or maybe like some total sum of multipliers. Which is kind of interesting. I guess it's the log of the multipliers, right? Because then they add. But, oh geez. That's not where I want to be right now. It's just so interesting how there's like just such an emphasis on score, and that everything's so transparent with the scoring. And so you play this game, it's like you don't play to see the end. You play to get the higher score. And you'll go back to the arcade and you're like, hey man, what's your score? Oh man, my score's 3 times that. It's like, how'd you do that? It's like, oh man, if you shoot the ships, you get a 5 times 5 multiplier. And they're like, I never would have considered that. And so you can just play this game, and it's like, hey, maybe you don't make it to the end, but maybe you can make it to the top of the high score sheet. And so that, I mean, that's like its own sort of victory, right? Because I mean, even if you're not like good in an absolute sense, good in a relative sense is relatively the same, right? Oh wow, so oh, okay. So just in case you were wondering what those little bomb-looking guys are, well, take a look at how the screen's scrolling. It's scrolling super slow. So you pick up the little triangle bomb guys, and then you can slow down time. This is kind of interesting because we came off the heels of Puss in Boots, or at least if you're watching this in chronological order. If you're watching this in playlist order, you're gonna have no idea what I'm talking about. But we played Puss in Boots, and now in English, and that also had a time freezing power-up. A weird one that turned the entire screen monochrome, but a otherwise completely normal power-up, just like that. Wow, they really revel on the whole Earth getting destroyed screen. I mean, Final Fight, I think, was one of the worst with their continue screen shenanigans, where they strapped a stick of dynamite to your character, and it's just a picture of them, like, trying to blow it out desperately. Oh, I see, this is way worse than any of the games that had, like, checkpoints. It's gonna start you off at the beginning of the stage. Well, I was gonna say, we got pretty far last time, and we could even, like, get a whiff of what the ending is gonna be like for this level, but well, I already died once, so I have no high hopes for this attempt. Oh yeah, that's what I was talking about, the continue screen. So, Final Fight has the thing where they've got the stick of dynamite strapped onto your player, and so they're desperately trying to blow it out, and you enter another credit, and they blow it out, they live another day. Well, I mean, they're Street Fighters, so I guess their days are numbered. but at least they don't die in that particular day. But this game considerably ups the ante by having the entire fate of the planet at stake. That's a pretty manipulative game over screen, if I do say so myself. So, at least now I have a new secret weapon, freezing time. So if ever the shots get a little bit too unwieldy, like right now, then I can just use my freeze time power up, and if I kill enough of them in a row, I can rack up a pretty sweet multiplier while I'm doing this. I am starting to see how this game should be played. In my haste, I forsook glory. Okay. Jeez Louise. This game does not let up. I mean, that's fine, because you're playing a shoot 'em up for score. It's like you don't want it to ever be boring. You don't want it to be like it takes 5 minutes to get to the good part. Oh man, this game is like 24/7 good part. But I do kind of like how each level has like a flow, an ebb and flow to it. Like each part kind of feels distinct. And there's like the part, it's like, okay, it's the part where there's a bunch of turrets. It's like, okay, it's the part where we take down the first wing or something. And it's like, you kind of build up this whole grand story. It's not just like a long string of non-contextual shoot-'em-up battles. Oh man. Oh, I don't think that's actually a target, that's just an obstacle. Oh. Well, I guess I shouldn't have touched it the last time I did then, did I? Okay, it's time for slow. Oh, and there's no slow. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. Will I make it? Even I'm on edge. I can see the future. Well, I can't, but at least the person editing this can. Okay. Pretty good, but we don't have any ships left. But I hear we get an extend at 30... Oh, that's 300k. No wonder I haven't gotten any extends yet. It's not an exorbitant amount of points to require. Well, that alternate universe is doomed. Let's try seeing what's happening in the next alternate universe. So 300,000 points is not an exorbitant amount of points, but it's definitely high enough that you're only ever going to get one bonus ship per, like, per credit. Yeah, maybe I should just stop. Like, a lot of the checkpoint shooters is like, okay, you can focus in enough, and you can like kind of muddle your way to the next one, but this game is just going to require like all concentration. And I don't know that I can handle that. Well, I mean, maybe I can handle it on my own, but I want to give some pretty interesting commentary, right? And, wow, that is a lot of explosions, actually. It's actually kind of impressive, because this is like, what, 85 or something? So the fact that they had, like, arcade machines that actually handled that many sprites at the same time, like, this, I mean, yeah, okay, it's a game over screen, yeah, it's kind of incentivizing you to put in a credit and keep playing, but this is the developers just kind of bragging. They're like, hey man, check out how many sprites our arcade machine can push. In fact, you can tell, because there's not even a time limit, they're just gonna, like, keep you on it. They're just like, check this out, no, check this out, check out how many shots we can put in there, and then their managing director is like, that's great, the arcade machine is due next week, so leave it in, not even a timer, who cares, just finish the game. Okay, so it turns out there was a hidden timer in the background. It was incredibly generous, because we got to see the Earth get pretty destroyed in that little GIF there. Alright, well, maybe not continue. So, it seems to be far more accommodating when you choose to not continue. Wow, that was Omega Fighter. Honestly, the word hidden gem was invented for games like this. I didn't know this game existed. I wish somebody would have told me. This game is like everything that bullet hell shooters would become, but like 30 years ahead of... Okay, maybe 30 years is a little bit rough. Maybe 20, at least 15. But this game is like way ahead of its time. Unless I look at the date and it was made and it's like 95 or something, and then it's like, how did they make a game that looks like this in 95? I mean, okay, they made a game that plays like this in 95, and honestly, a game that plays like this in any time period is to be celebrated. But that would be really funny. It looks like a game from the 80s. Granted, late 80s, but still, it would feel a little out of place in 95. Actually, yeah, I start getting to 98 and it's all about the pseudo 3D generated graphics, man. Which, honestly, look not so great. They didn't age very well, those weird 3D graphics. Even the graphics like this, it's like, they're plain, but they're functional, they're practical, and they're well considered. They're well thought out. Well, this demo screen is not giving me a lot to work off of, but this game itself has given me a lot to think about. But unfortunately, our time is up. So on that note, this cat's got a scat.